Well, football fans, this is it. Time officially runs out on the 2023 regular season here this afternoon. Today's game is, in fact, the final game for the Willamette Bearcats football team this season. And today, well, it is a bit bittersweet. The Bearcats will say goodbye to a group of graduating seniors, each of whom has no doubt left his mark, not just on this program, but on this campus and this entire community as well. Well, good afternoon and happy Senior Day, everybody, and thank you for tuning in for the final game of Bearcats football in 2023. I'm Jeff Lucero, happy to be here with you for the live broadcast from McCulloch Stadium today, here on a very, very special day. This Northwest Conference matinee game pits the Bearcats against a very familiar league foe, the Lewis and Clark Pioneers. We'd also, of course, like to welcome in any Pioneers fans tuning in today. Very nice to have you along for the broadcast as well. We'll talk matchups in just a bit, but for the Bearcats, as we just mentioned, at least 10 players will suit up for the final time in their Bearcats playing careers here today. I say at least 10 because 4 more were recognized on the field earlier as part of the Senior Day festivities. But those 4 have all eligibility remaining and are weighing the decision whether to return for another season in 2024. Now, normally on our pregame show, we give you a recap of the Bearcats' recent games, talk about some of those highlights, some of those takeaways from that last game as well. But today, you know what? Let's just throw that out the window. Let's just shift the focus to those 14 Bearcats players who will graduate next spring. And you know what? What an impressive and inspiring group of young men they are. Now, sure, they're a group of great athletes, but much more importantly, they're just also phenomenal student athletes. And perhaps more importantly, they're just all-around amazing people. Now, I don't get to spend a whole lot of time on campus, and I rarely get to interact with the student athletes here all that much, but I did get to sit down with interim head coach Tim Root earlier this week and talk to him about their time as student athletes at Willamette and what each of them has brought to this Bearcats football program. He spoke of each of them with just a certain amount of grace and pride about what it has meant to coach them and how well they all represent this university both on the football field and in the classroom. He talked about how they've grown into leaders and well-rounded young men. And let me tell you, the future sure sounds like it's pretty bright, folks. This group of youngsters gives an old dude like me a whole lot of hope for the future. And I've got no doubts that they are perfectly emblematic of the character, not just of the rest of this entire football program, but really perhaps of all of Willamette's senior class. I walked away from my conversation with Coach Root thinking that if this group of young men are indicative of what the future holds, if they are in fact what represents what's coming down the road, then folks, we are in very, very good hands. If I could have, I would have sat down with all 14 of them, but I have no doubt that I would have been very impressed with every single one of them. So to that entire group of seniors, let's run it down for you. Matt Fiesta, Cameron Dernberger, Seth Beach, Justin Genovia, Avi Naidu, Michael Valtiera, Dylan Hall, Ron Florentino, Ryan Johns, and DJ Smith. That is the group of 10 that are absolutely graduating, and they have used up their eligibility. They will not be back next season. We've got 4 more, La Alike, Nick Goff, Gio Gallardo, and Luke Seymour still weighing the decision of whether to return next year with what remains of their eligibility. 2 seniors, however, have already committed to coming back next year. Those are A.J. Conrad and Dylan Carpenter. So 16 seniors in all, 10 of whom will not be back next season. 4 might be back, and 2 definitely will. On behalf of the entire Bearcats community, congratulations to this group of young men for all they've accomplished. We can't wait to see what the future has in store for each of you. We'll take a quick break, but kickoff is coming up on the other side of this break. It's Lewis and Clark and Willamette right here from McCulloch Stadium in Salem, Oregon on Senior Day, the final game of the 2023 regular season. today. Lewis and Clark Pioneers 3-3 in league play, so they are looking to finish with a winning record in the Northwest Conference. They're 4-5 overall, looking to equalize their record here on the final day of the regular season. This is one of course, 4 games going on around our league. Of course, the one that everyone in the Northwest Conference will have their eye on. It's that clash of the Titans. They have been on a crash course all season long, sitting atop the standings, both of them undefeated, not just in league play, but undefeated overall, Linfield and Whitworth. We will bring you updates from that one as they develop. But right here, we've got a pretty special ball game between a couple of teams looking to finish on a very high note here. Of course, for the Bearcats, they won their season opener at Laverne, have not won a game since then. They are winless in league play, but that can all change. Perfect game plan. A couple of breaks go on the field, and
call on this
who knows
coin.
what
That's
can
the
happen
head.
out there.
The T is the tail.
1-8 overall, 0-6 in the Northwest
Tails
Conference.
is the call. I'm going to let it hit the ground.
Meet earlier in the season, Lewis and Clark opening with
heads.
back-to-back non-conference games
You want to defer?
conference opponents.
Which direction do you want to kick?
The first of those two.
You want to kick that direction? Come over here with me.
Came back and beat Willamette 38-7 up at their place in Portland earlier this year. Bearcats won the toss, deferred. So it will be Lewis and Clark receiving the football to open the game. Bearcats will have the first possession of the second half. This Lewis and Clark team features a pretty high-flying offense. They've got a couple of quarterbacks. Get to know these names pretty well, folks. Trey Morris and Cruz Montana. They'll play probably just about equal snaps. Morris may see a slight majority over Cruz Montana. Trey Morris expected to start this game for the Pioneers. He's a 6-foot senior from Seattle. He's completed 96 of 148 passes for 1,239 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not much of a threat to run. 25 carries, negative 16 yards. He has punched one in near the goal line. The other quarterback, Cruz Montana, a 6'2 senior from Eureka, California, number 16 for this squad. 97 completions on 149 attempts, 1,161 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. 29 carries, 13 yards rushing for him, but has scored twice. So again, neither quarterback much of a threat to run, but when you've got the kind of weapons on offense that this Lewis and Clark offense has, you don't need a whole lot of running production from your quarterbacks. Elijah Washington, the 5'11 senior from Pasadena, he's a dual threat guy out of the backfield, 137 carries, 757 yards, and 8 touchdowns, but he's also caught 37 passes for another 336 yards and a couple more touchdowns. They have a trio of wide receivers, Devon Guest, Ben Burnham, and Elijah McGee, who can really hurt you. Now, developing situation, Elijah McGee will not play this afternoon. Lewis and Clark play-by-play man Ryan Goff letting me know that he is unavailable for today's game, so they will be without the services of a guy who's really explosive on the perimeter. He came in with 24 catches, 487 yards, and 6 touchdowns, but it also carried 10 times for another 147 yards and an additional score as well. But no Elijah McGee today. So keying on the offense, Elijah Washington, Ben Burnham, Devon Guest, a couple other guys that can really hurt you on this Lewis and Clark offense. They can get it done on the ground. They can get it done through the air. Willamette will definitely have their hands full. We'll take a very short break. We'll be right back with kickoff. It's coming up on the other side of this break. Mentioned the Whitfield, Whitfield, my goodness. That's the combination of those two teams. The Whitworth-Linfield game, that one being played just up the road in McMinnville today. The two undefeated teams going head-to-head, finally duking it out. Makes so much sense on the very last day of the regular season that those two teams would face one another. It's the Crosstown Showdown up in Pierce County. Puget Sound taking on Pacific Lutheran in Tacoma on their home field. The other game, of course, today, another sort of crosstown showdown. Pacific and George Fox squaring off later this afternoon at 4 o'clock in Newburgh. We'll keep an eye on the PLU-UPS game, and, of course, that big one between Whitworth and Linfield. We're just about set for kickoff down on the field. Senior Day festivities sure were nice today. Got to give a kudos to Athletic Director Rob Passage stepping up and filling in on the PA system. Did a nice job pulling off the PA responsibilities for all the Senior Day festivities here at McCulloch Stadium pregame. On the drive into the stadium, great to see so many fans and family members hanging out, tailgating before the game. It's like that week in, week out right here at McCulloch Stadium. Win or lose, our fans show up to support these kids, and it's really, really great to see such a great community of football and family rallying around this team year in, year out. We are now set for kickoff. Camden Dernberger lines it up. He'll be kicking left to right. Black tops, white pants for the Bearcats. And Lewis and Clark in their road white unis. We are underway. Kickoff comes down, sails into the arms at the 18. Bounces just outside the right hash and is brought down right across the 30-yard line. And it's from there that Lewis and Clark will begin their first drive of the game. Again, Trey Morris, the quarterback, the 6-foot senior from Seattle. Mighty effective, very strong arm. Well, check that. Check this out. It is Cruz Montana coming out. He is your first quarterback. 3 wides to the left, 1 to the top of the formation. It'll be a pistol set for Lewis and Clark on the first snap of the ball game. Ball on the right side hash, 31-yard line. It's from there. Elijah Washington takes the handoff, scurries outside the numbers, and is brought down near the boundary. After a gain of about 5, they'll mark him down right there at the 36. So he, from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 5, cuts it in half. So a bit of a surprise as Cruz Montana, the first quarterback on the field. On 2nd and 5 from the shotgun. Motioning out is Lahusky on the field. Drops it off across the middle. Enough for the line to gain. Gang tackled between the hashes. That was Ben Burnham, leading receiver, second leading receiver for this team. 39 catches, 585 yards, and 5 touchdowns coming in. A gain of 6. Sets Lewis and Clark up with a fresh set of downs from their own 42. From the shotgun, Montana takes the snap, rolls to his left, fires, passes low, skips. Well, it doesn't skip off the turf, but it does bring Des Holton to a knee. And he's down right there of his own volition after a gain of 5. So 2nd and 5 as Lewis and Clark now approaching midfield. Now from the near side hash, Montana has the signal. Not radioed in, just signaled in. Of course, signals in college football a very big story. Washington with room into Bearcats territory. Nice little jump cut. And he is brought down inside the 45. They'll mark him at the 44. And from plus territory, Lewis and Clark with a fresh set of downs. Montana with Washington standing behind him in the pistol. Tight end on the field, 2 wides to the right. Play fake to Washington. Cruz wants it all. Cranks one deep to the end zone. Defender falls down, juggled for a moment in the end zone, but able to compose himself. Wrangles the football, and it's a touchdown for Lewis and Clark. Off the play fake. Cruz Montana drops back, puts a foot in the ground, fires a pass downfield. The defender fell down at about the 2-yard line. Opening drive for the Pioneers culminates in a 44-yard touchdown bomb. It is Devon Guest with the touchdown reception. Nearly let it bounce off his hands. It took him a minute there as he was running through the back of the end zone. Finally corralled it before he stepped out of bounds. In any event, it's a Lewis and Clark touchdown to open the game. We'll be right back. Drive for Lewis and Clark to open the game. Tien Wong set to kick off, but the wind had other ideas. In fact, this will actually, be Huxley Richardson kicking off for Lewis and Clark. So the backup kicker, assuming kickoff responsibilities at least for this one, boots it away straight down the middle of the field. It's picked off the turf. Well, bobbled for a moment, but picked up at the 15. I believe that's Jarek Little on the return. Sets up the Bearcats across the 20, marked down. I believe they'll spot it at the 21, and they will. So the Bearcats with their first possession of the game, and here is a developing situation, folks. We haven't quite got to this yet, but Seth Beach, the senior, one of those 10 honored before the game, gets the start here today, has seen limited action here so far this season. He's 3 for 6 for 21 yards on the year, but guess what, folks? Seth Beach, the fourth starting quarterback of the season for Willamette, takes the snap, and on first down he wants to pass. Finds Brandon Johnson in the left side flat, makes a miss, makes another miss near midfield. Ball was fumbled. A defender came from out of bounds and made the tackle. Brandon Johnson, however, with a spectacular run after the catch, fields it in the flat, heads up field. Quick strike capabilities for the Bearcats on full display. Beach, quick drop, dumps it off. He's ready to go now from the Lewis and Clark 40. Four-man front for the Pioneers. Some activity, some movement pre-snap. Lewis and Clark initially jumped into the neutral zone, but we'll see what the refs call. And it's the first flag of the game. How about that play from Seth Beach connecting with Brandon Johnson?
73.
And a false start is
5-yard penalty
against the Bearcats.
Still first down.
Back him up. Another 5, so 1st and 15 now. In Pio's territory. At the 45 now. By the way, Bearcats without the services of several of their receiving core, most notably Matt Fiesta and Justin Genovia, unable to go today. Here on the near side, Tyler Epifanio. And a whistle before the snap.
It will start on the whistle and my signal.
And Nick Goff split to the left side. Here on the near side, Josh Knight and Epifanio. Single setback to the left of Seth Beach is Gabe Herrera. Handoff is to Herrera. Has a hole. Straight up the middle of the field, inside the 10 to the 5, brought down at the 1-yard line. Gabe Herrera with a gaping hole at the line of scrimmage, hits it hard. Just downhill running from Gabe Herrera. And just like that, the Bearcats knocking on the door. Beautiful cut, left to right move, accelerates right through the teeth of the Pioneers defense, caught them napping a little, and it's 1st and goal at the Lewis and Clark 1-yard line. 2 setbacks in the backfield with Seth Beach. Takes the snap, handoff, Herrera powers through. He's across the goal line, I believe he is. Punch and counter punch, the Bearcats with the answer back. Gabe Herrera cashes in from the 1, and we're an extra point away from being all tied up. Just 3.5 minutes into our game. It was, of course, Gabe Herrera who set the Bearcats up at the 1-yard line with that 44-yard burst right up the middle of the field. And now Dernberger on for the extra point. The try is good, and we are all oh, no, I take that. It looked good from my vantage point up top here, but wave it off. Dernberger 13 of 14 on PATs coming in, but that one just barely does miss. So our score, Lewis and Clark 7 and Willamette 6. Exciting game already. 3.5 minutes in. We'll be right back. The Bearcats needed first. It was Brandon Johnson with a beautiful move after taking a short pass here on the near side flat. Then 2 consecutive plays from Gabe Herrera. The kickoff is away, fielded at about the 17-yard line. Cuts it inside the numbers, is tripped up and knocked down just shy of the 40-yard line. But yes, Willamette with an absolutely perfect way to open this contest. Johnson makes some moves, gets into Lewis and Clark territory, then Herrera with the 44-yard rumble down to the 1, and then he cashes it in from a yard away 1 play later. 3 plays, 79 yards, that's all it took. On the handoff. Hogan Smith with a nice tackle behind the line of scrimmage. It was Lindale Betts on the carry. Nothing doing. 2nd and 11 on the stalwart play from Hogan Smith. So from the 39, it is Cruz Montana back on the field in the pistol formation. Elijah Washington lined up behind him. He takes the carry, tries the right side. Stuffed and brought down after a gain of maybe 3 yards. They will spot him at the 42, so yes, it'll be 3rd and 8 upcoming for Lewis and Clark. Near side receiver is Des Holton. Split out wide is Devin Guest. In the slot, Ben Burnham. Single setback, Elijah Washington. Cruz Montana awaits the shotgun snap. Takes it, drops back to his own 35. Steps up, slides to his right, has a man across midfield. That's Devin Guest. And on 3rd and 8, Lewis and Clark able to convert. Big chunk play moves it all the way to the 41 of Willamette. Chains will move, and Lewis and Clark with a fresh set of downs to work with. just barely into this game, and we've had a lot of really good plays executed on either side. Lewis and Clark with their second possession of the ball game. And it's Cruz Montana once again from the pistol. Takes the snap, hands it off. It's Washington. Stone for a moment. Now a nice open field tackle. Thwarted by Peyton Zamko, coming off a career game last week, 11 tackles. In the loss to Pacific up in Forest Grove under the lights. Gain of 4, 2nd and 8 now for Lewis and Clark from the right side hash. Washington remains on the field, offset to the right of quarterback Cruz Montana. Montana designed draw. Montana on the keeper, wrapped up and dropped at about the 35. So gain of a couple will bring up 3rd and manageable anyway for the Pioneers. Jordan Lahusky back on the field, as is JT Willis. He lines up in the slot. Ben Burnham staggers to his left. Out wide, it's Des Holton. They set up the screen. Couple of blockers in front of him for Elijah Washington. Hauled down near the boundary. Well more than enough for the line to gain. Gain of 10 called 11. As they'll mark him down at the Willamette 24-yard line. And Lewis and Clark wants to go quickly. They're back to the line of scrimmage, and here's Montana. Takes the snap, handoff Washington. Straight up the middle. Crashing down was Peyton Zamko wrapping him up. First man to him. Zamko, the outside backer, in the Bearcats standard 4-3. I say standard, but they kind of just go as far as their personnel groupings allow. We've, of course, had a lot of injuries this season without the services of several quality players, the Bearcats, on either side of the ball. Gain of 3 sets up 2nd and 7. Play fake, firing across the middle. Defender's there and drops the receiver immediately. That is Ben Burnham at the bottom of that pile. Now in the red zone, though, Lewis and Clark threatening to score yet again. After a 5-play, 69-yard drive to open the contest. Bearcats struck back, of course, 3 plays, 79 yards of their own. But it's 1st and 10 from the 15. Washington, big burst out of the backfield. And he's into the end zone untouched. Elijah Washington running with some purpose. No flags on the field. That touchdown will stand. Elijah Washington on the board with his 9th rushing touchdown of the season. That one from 15 yards. And for the moment, the Pioneers lead 13-6. Back on the field for the point after try, Tien Wong. Try is good, and it's 14-6. So 2 possessions for the Pioneers have resulted in 2 scores. They lead at 14-6. We'll be right back.
You have to clear it completely.
Nothing but scores so far in this one. 14-6 our score, just over halfway through the first quarter. Huxley Richardson back on the field for the Pioneers for the kickoff. High end over end kick taken at about the 5-yard line. Fumbled out of bounds, but possession will stay with Willamette at about the 32. Quality return. Jarek Little. Found some space up the left sideline. Sets up Willamette with pretty solid field position for their second touch of the day. 14-6 our score here on Senior Day. Overcast skies, lights are on. No rain as yet. Lewis and Clark shifting around up front. Base defense 4-3 for them. Herrera motions from one side of Seth Beach to the other. Settles in, offset to his right. Play fake. Pass to the near side flat. Brandon Johnson again makes the first man miss yet again. Gets outside the numbers. Fights through contact again. Brandon Johnson playing with purpose here today. Slippery once he gets on the perimeter. Brandon Johnson just making moves. He's had 2 touches and he's made the very most of both. Gain netted only 5 yards, so it's 2nd and 5. And Beach waits for the shotgun snap with Gabe Herrera standing next to him. Motioning in is Nick Goff. Settles into the right side slot. Bunch formation here to the near side from the right side hash. Handoff, Herrera. Stutter steps, now cuts up toward the hash. Is spilled down at about, well, they'll mark the ball right between the 39 and the 40. So it's 3rd and 2.5 for the Bearcats from the near side hash again. Good to see Seth Beach get the start today here in his final game in a Bearcats uniform. Has looked confident thus far, completed both of his passes, both to the same cat. Brandon Johnson has hauled them both in. Gabe Herrera's looked very strong out of the backfield. He takes it here. Straight up the gut, has enough for the first down. So that'll move the chains on 3rd and short. And the Bearcats drive still in business now from their own 43-yard line. Haven't seen a lot of Josh Knight on the field, but without Matt Fiesta and Justin Genovia, good to see number 81 getting some run today. He's nearest here to our side. Herrera bottled up, nowhere to go at all. Just stoned at the line of scrimmage. No gain for the Bearcats on first down. A raft of substitutions comes in for Lewis and Clark for 2nd and 10. 4 wides, 2 to either side, single setback. This time it's Stephen Wright on the field. 21 carries, 64 yards, and a spike so far this year. Offset to the right, now to the left of quarterback Seth Beach. Plenty of time on the play clock. Play fake. Beach, some contact and a flag flies in. Not 1, but 2 flags, in fact. As Nick Goff hauled down a little bit in advance of the pass.
Pass interference. Defense number 8. Ball to be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
Piece now. It's called interference rather than holding. In any event, it's a fresh set of downs for the Bearcats. Threatening to breach Pioneers territory from their own 48. 3 wide to the near side, 1 up top. Lewis and Clark crowds the line of scrimmage. Beach takes the shotgun snap. Has some space, crosses the 50, slides down at about the 47, make it the 48. It's a gain of 4 into Lewis and Clark territory. Beach doing a nice job reading what's in front of him. Sees a little crack of daylight to his right, slides around the line. A gain of 4 into Pioneers territory. 2nd and 6 for the Bearcats. Right in the middle of that Bearcats logo here on the field. Again, 3 wide to the near side, 1 up top. Beach and Stephen Wright in the backfield. Good block from Stephen Wright. Wants Nick Goff isolated up top. Opposite Thomas Reagan. That was a tough window to try to fit that pass into. Great coverage there from Thomas Reagan, the corner for the Lewis and Clark defense. Put that pass in a good spot, but just tough to shake the defense there of Thomas Reagan, and it's 3rd and 6 now for the Bearcats from the Pioneers 48. Similar formation. Beach tucks and goes. Gets to the outside. Can't get outside the numbers. He's run down from behind. Justin Hope, the team's leading tackler, came in today with 62 tackles. 4 of them for a loss. That one for no gain. It's 4th and 6 for the Bearcats, and they will send the punt unit onto the field. The first drive for the Bearcats resulted in 6 points. But now it's George Wiles-Kohler on for the punt attempt here for Willamette. High snap, takes it. Good coverage, high hanging punt. Fielded inside the 15. He called for a fair catch, I thought, but then took off upfield. So they will mark him down where he caught it at the 12-yard line, and it's from there that Lewis and Clark will trot the offense back onto the field. So 2 possessions for Lewis and Clark, both of them culminating in touchdowns. It was a promising drive for the Bearcats, but it stalled just into Lewis and Clark territory at the Pioneers' 48-yard line. The Wiles-Kohler doing a nice job of pinning Lewis and Clark deep in their own territory. They'll start from their own 12-yard line. The motion man on the toss jet sweep. Was that Lindell Betts on the carry? I believe it was. Actually, technically a pass as that went forward. So that's a completion into the hands of Betts. Able to scamper out to the 18-yard line, so 2nd and 4 for Lewis and Clark. It's still Cruz Montana on the field. Looks to his right now, rolls to his left, has a man here on the near side flat. Caught and bumped out of bounds. Ben Burnham. It's a nice design play from Lewis and Clark. Sort of look off to the right, then Montana circles back, rolls to his left. And coming across the formation was Ben Burnham. He's got 2, he's got at least 3 catches on the day on his way to a big game. 2nd leading receiver for this team. Big burst straight through the middle. La'alike blows that up. That play never had a chance. Completely snuffed out. Man, oh man, how about the performance of La'alike all year long? The team's leading tackler, 54 coming in today. He's got a sack, an interception, a forced fumble. He's done a little bit of everything for this defense, and he destroyed that play. Moving up front, Vince Becerra was already into the backfield before the whistle blew. We'll see if he was drawn off.
Offside. Defense, number 69. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Nancy up front. So it'll be 2nd and 6 after Leakey dropped Washington for a 1-yard loss on 1st down. Montana with Elijah Washington to his left. Washington takes the carry, has a hole, cuts to the right. Couple of guys miss. He's chased down from behind by A.J. Conrad. Conrad, one of those two seniors who is already committed to coming back with that final year of COVID eligibility. And once again, Lewis and Clark wants to go quickly from the hash nearest their side of the field. Well, now Lewis and Clark will look over to the sideline for the signals. Signals. Burning hot topic. Cruz takes the snap, drops back to his own 40, steps up. He's chased down from behind. He's able to elude one, not two, but three tacklers, and now skips into Willamette territory, slides down, shy of the line to gain. And I believe that will bring us to the end of the first quarter, and it will. What an exciting first 15 minutes of football we had. Our score, Lewis and Clark 14, Willamette 6, right here on the Bearcat Network. Set for a moment and check in with Lewis and Clark play-by-play man Ryan Goff. He got a little bit more context as to why it is that Cruz Montana has seen all the snaps at quarterback. Well, this is his last game as well. This is the college career finale for Cruz Montana. When I talked to interim head coach for the Bearcats earlier this week, they were game planning a little bit more in the direction of Trey Morris, who's also a senior but has eligibility remaining and will likely be back for more football in a Lewis and Clark uniform next season. Whereas for Cruz Montana, this is it. So that is part of why we're seeing Cruz Montana a little bit more so far in this contest. Fresh set of downs for Cruz Montana. Wants to go deep. Does go deep. Has a man, but he's well covered and the ball well short. But now a flag flies in late at the end of the play. Woo! Well, the referees are going to get together and talk about it anyway. And they will pick up the flag. And I'll tell you, I think that's the right call. There wasn't a lot of contact. I didn't see much back there. I was really surprised to see that flag fly in. And I think the referees got that one right. So the result of that play, just an incompletion downfield. Pocket was collapsing. I thought Montana might actually get that ball stripped as he cocked his arm and let it fly. He had pressure bearing down right on top of him, but he was able to get that pass away. Left it well short of the intended receiver. And on second down, they'll hand off to Elijah Washington. Stood up almost immediately. Forward progress did net a couple of yards for the Pioneers, so it'll be 3rd and 8 from the Willamette 39-yard line here, coming up from the far side hash. Good pursuit up front. And this is suddenly a very important play in this contest. These two teams have played once already this season, so they're familiar with one another. Week number 2 of the season. Lewis and Clark was 0-1 after losing to UPS to open the season in another non-conference conference game. Willamette was coming off their season-opening victory at Laverne on 3rd and 8, dropping it off to his check-down receiver, Elijah Washington. And there you see why he's such a dynamic force out of the backfield for this team. Not only one of the best rushers in this league, he's perhaps the preeminent catch pass catcher out of the backfield in the Northwest Conference. Came in today with 37 catches, good for 336 yards. He's such a reliable safety valve for this team, and there he is bailing out the Lewis and Clark offense with everything else falling apart. There's old trusty Elijah Washington there to gobble up the pass and move the chains. He steps off on first down. This is Chili Stevens seeing his first action today. Bullies his way down inside the 20, but a penalty marker behind the play. So wipe off the 10-yard run for Chili. Is a costly one for Lewis and Clark. That'll back him up 10 yards. And it looks like Michael Valtiera might be a little shaken up on the play. We'll step away for just a moment. We'll be right back. Valtiera up on his feet and walking off the field. Hopefully we will see him back on the field in short order for this Willamette Bearcats defense. Getting set to return to action. It is 1st and 20 now for Lewis and Clark at the Bearcats' 42-yard line. Next snap coming from the far side hash. Cruz Montana remains on the field. Claps his hands, takes the snap, looks to his right, drops, throws deep, has a man, but that pass out of the reach of its intended receiver. Just a little bit too much air under that one for Devin Guest, the team's leading receiver. He will head to the sideline on 2nd and 20. So Mateo Maihara lines up here. One of 3 wideouts split to the near side. One at the top of the formation on 2nd and 20. Cruz wants to dump it off. Now Tuck slides to his right. Makes one man miss outside the numbers and is finally chased down inside the 25. Big run there for Cruz Montana. He's not much of a threat to run. 29 carries for 13 yards coming in. But he looked pretty good there. Nice little cut to make one man miss before sliding down. So now 3rd and 7 for Lewis and Clark at the Bearcats' 24. Takes the snap, rolls to his left, had 3 wideouts set up over there, has a man wide open. It's Ben Burnham inside the 5. Ben Burnham just slipped right through the coverage. Had a lot of space. All Cruz Montana had to do was just feather it in there. Burnham just stood there, waited for the pass to sail into his arms. Got wrapped up immediately. Defender eventually converged and dropped him, but all of a sudden, 1st and goal for Lewis and Clark. On 3rd and 7, Lewis and Clark with a huge conversion. They'll stack the line of scrimmage with the heavy formation. Timeout called by Willamette. We'll take him with them. We'll be right back. Once again, it's Lewis and Clark with first and goal from the 3-yard line. The pitch is to Washington. Met at the line of scrimmage, but dragging a tackler into the end zone. Elijah Washington just powers his way across the goal line. And Lewis and Clark opens up a 20-6 lead. Just tough sledding. Washington was met in the backfield, but just twisted around the tackle of Michael Valtiera, who was right back on the field. Good to see for the Bearcats. Valtiera back out there. But Elijah Washington was in his grasp, but then just spun back toward the goal line over his left shoulder, fell into the end zone. And after the PAT, it's 21-6. Lewis and Clark kicking off in just a moment. Covering 88 yards for Lewis and Clark on that last drive. They've had the ball 3 times and they've scored touchdowns on all 3 possessions. They now lead it 21-6. A quick look at the other scores around the Northwest Conference. Pacific Lutheran with a 14-0 lead on Puget Sound with just over 3 minutes left in the first half. And of course, the big one over up the road in McMinnville. Linfield with a 14-7 lead over Whitworth, with about 11 minutes left in the first half. Penalty marker flies in at the end of that play. Some extracurriculars over on the Lewis and Clark sideline. We'll let the referee sort this one out. But if it's a penalty on Lewis and Clark, it'll set up
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 3 in the kicking team. 15 yards will be added to the end of the run. First down, Willamette.
The Bearcats with excellent field position. 5 yards shy of midfield. They'll start this drive at their own 45-yard line. Stephen Wright in the backfield. But now at quarterback is Alex Rivera for the Bearcats. He tries to jam his way back through the line of scrimmage across the far side hash mark, but is able to just get right back to the line of scrimmage. So Alex Rivera, the 5'9" freshman, he's looked very good, very composed for a kid his age. We've seen some bursts of genius from Alex Rivera so far in his career. 21 of 57, 406 yards passing. Deep drop here. Fires, beautiful pass downfield, but it's just out of reach. Intended for Trajan Clark, who came streaking open across the middle of the field. Look at the release on that pass from Alex Rivera. My goodness, he got that ball out quick, and it had some pace on it. Man, oh man, that ball just exploded out of the hands of Alex Rivera. Oh man, Trajan Clark, just 3 catches in his career. 2 of them, however, have gone for touchdowns, both in the same game against Puget Sound a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, 3rd and long now for Willamette from their own 45. Rivera with Stephen Wright standing to his left. Takes the snap, drops back, looks left. Everything just closing down in a hurry. Pocket collapsed, and down goes Rivera in a heap, dropped for about a 7-yard loss. And it's 4th and 17 for the Bearcats. So nothing doing for the Bearcats on back-to-back drives. Currently looking up at a 21-6 deficit, and they'll have to punt for the second consecutive possession as we near the 10-minute mark of the first half. Lewis and Clark just brought the house on that one. Good looking punt from Wiles Kohler. The penalty flag flies in from the line of scrimmage. Slipping away and free was Ben Burnham on the return, so a good return, but let's check the flag.
During the kick, holding, number 81 of the kicking team. 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
And the referee will trot the ball all the way out to midfield after the very good return from Ben Burnham. Actually, now they'll back it up another 5. It was a 5-yard penalty, not a 10-yard penalty. Well, gosh, now I just don't know where they're going to put the ball. They can't seem to figure it out. At one point, they were standing at midfield with the ball. Then they backed up to the 45. Now they're back at the 40. And now they're going to get together and talk about it. Sometimes it bees like that. Still no rain here at McCulloch Stadium. Nice, cool, crisp, autumnal afternoon to finish things off here in 2023. Well, no, hang on just a minute. Now they're calling a penalty against Lewis and Clark. Well, I'm as confused as you are. Doesn't make any sense to me either. And now the ball being trotted all the way back to the 10-yard line of Lewis and Clark. So wipe out the return altogether. So that 19-yard return from Ben Burnham is off the board. The penalty now backing Lewis and Clark up all the way to their own 10-yard line. The referees marked the ball not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 different times. And on the 4th and final time, they move Lewis and Clark back all the way to their own 10-yard line. One of you please explain that to me someday. Well, at any rate, 1st and 10 now for Lewis and Clark from their own 10. Into the flat. Able to slip around the lead block in the flat was Devin Guest. Nice little catch and run from Devin Guest. Slides the ball to the 20. Moves the chains as well, so 1st and 10 for Lewis and Clark. They'll stack 2 wides to either side, one on top of the other, right in each other's hip pockets. Now firing to his left this time. Ball batted, nearly intercepted, was it? Oh no, they'll call it incomplete. That pass intended for Des Holton, it slipped through his fingertips, nearly into the hands of Dom Corrado, who, if I'm not mistaken, is still playing with that big club on his right hand. Might have kept him from being able to reel that thing and make it his left hand. After the near turnover, 2nd and 10 for the Pioneers from the near side hash. Turns and hands. This is Elijah Washington. Finds some space up front. A nice run on 2nd down for Elijah Washington. Brings up a 3rd and very manageable 1.5 yards. Make it 2 yards as they will mark him down right at the 28. Clock ticks under 9 to play here in the first half. So 4 wides on the field. Single setback from the shotgun for Cruz Montana. Washington to his left. Claps the hands not once but twice. Wants to throw, has a man out on the perimeter. That's Devin Guest with another catch. Moves the sticks yet again. So Cruz Montana now 12 for 15 on the day for a touchdown. Two wides to either side for Montana on first down. Has a man across the middle. This time it's Ben Burnham again slipping free. Right in the middle of the field, dropped just shy of midfield. Cruz Montana looking very good in the pocket so far in this game. In his final appearance on a college football field. Elijah Washington stood up at the line of scrimmage. Here comes Valtierra to finish off the tackle. I believe that's Vince Becerra at the bottom who got him first. So Becerra and Valtierra converge on Elijah Washington and bring him down for no gain. The run stuffer up front, big 69 in black, doing his job, just collapsing the line of scrimmage. And then Valtierra just comes crashing down the line. Now on second down, everything closing down, and down goes Cruz Montana in the backfield. A.J. Conrad, one of the guys to him. Getting help there as well. Well, back-to-back, just absolute stud plays from Willamette, and it's third and very long. 3rd and 12 for Cruz Montana. Motion man is Lindell Betts. Conrad flies in. Has a man, Ben Burnham can't hang on to the pass. No flags on the field, and the Bearcats defense does its job. That was a much needed stop for this Bearcats defense. Couple of huge plays, dropping Washington at the line of scrimmage for no gain and bringing Montana down in the backfield for a 2-man sack. Well, an interesting formation on the field. Well, for a moment anyway, but now it's more of a traditional look. The punt for Huxley Richardson. Low driving punt, not very far downfield. Actually kind of lost it. I was looking further downfield, thinking it'd sail a little further than it actually did. It actually takes a favorable bounce for the Bearcats as well. So a very short punt for Richardson. And the Bearcats get the ball back. After stunting the drive of Lewis and Clark at about midfield, Alex Rivera will come back on, as will Gabe Herrera as the tailback. And how about this? Dylan Hall in the backfield as well. Great to see Dylan Hall on the field today. We weren't sure if he was going to be able to go, playing in kind of a limited capacity. He's such a great story for this team. Linebacker being asked to play tight end for this team. Lines up in the backfield here. He's the lead blocker for Gabe Herrera, who's quickly bottled up and dropped just across the line of scrimmage. I believe that was Logan Herman, the first man to him. 17 tackles coming in. And with an injured Bearcat on the field, we'll step away for just a moment. So Parker Heisey, a little dinged up, no worse for the wear. Hope to see him back on the field here shortly. Starting left tackle for this Bearcats offense. Gio Gallardo will shift from right to left tackle for this next play. Design run for Alex Rivera. A little RPO look. And on the keeper, Alex Rivera nets a couple of yards on second down. Ball spotted at the 34, so it'll be 3rd and 7 for the Bearcats as we near the 5.5-minute mark here in the second half. Still a 14-7 game in McMinnville. About 3 minutes left in the first half. It is the Wildcats leading Whitworth by a touchdown. 3rd and 4 here. Nick Goff slides in motion. That ball fired in the direction of Nick Goff. It was a little bit behind him. Goff just never saw it coming, one or the other. In any event, it's 4th and 7. And the Bearcats will bring the punt unit back onto the field for the 3rd consecutive possession. Would love to have seen the Bearcats mount a drive there. Get at least a couple of first downs out of the deal anyway. Unfortunately, just not to be. Offense a little out of sync after that opening drive. Wiles Kohler hurried, able to get it off, and a fair catch called for and made by Ben Burnham across his own 25-yard line. They'll mark it at the 27. We'll see. Cruz Montana has been very effective. 13 of 17 passing, 181 yards and a touchdown. Also 3 carries, 17 yards on the ground. Will he return to the field? He will for this next set of downs. And likely the series for Lewis and Clark. We've yet to see the other quarterback in the mix, Trey Morris. Montana pump fakes. Pumps again, now fires downfield, looking for Burnham. Burnham comes back forward and makes a one-handed catch behind the defender. What in the world? Ben Burnham with an extraterrestrial gab. Man, oh man. What are you supposed to do in a situation like that? Ben Burnham with a beautiful grab. And Montana hurries Lewis and Clark back to the line of scrimmage. Wants a man in the corner of the end zone. Devon Guest, excellent coverage outside. How about Manu Faleola staying step for step with him? Kind of helping angle Devon Guest toward the boundary in the end zone. After the incompletion, Lewis and Clark will slow things down, at least for the moment. 4:51 left here in the first half. Lewis and Clark leads by a couple of touchdowns. Montana pumps a couple of times, has lots of space in front of him, finally dumps it off. I believe that's Lindell Betts on the catch, and it is. Scrapes himself off the turf, shuffles back into the huddle. Well, not so much a huddle as there's just a bunch of dudes standing around looking at the, at the far side boundary. Back at their sideline, now Cruz Montana has the play with Elijah Washington offset to his right. They'll look back once again for another signal. Now Washington bounces to the left of quarterback Cruz Montana. Plenty of time on the play clock. They'll bubble it out to the opposite side of the field. Hauled down by his wrist, Devon Guest. Manu Faleola there for the open field tackle. Holding on for dear life, just grabbing at Devon Guest. Able to finally pin him down. But Lewis and Clark back in business in the red zone again. 3:45 left here in the first half. Pioneers with a 15-point lead. They'll slow things down, look to milk the clock a little bit. Whatever that signal is whatever the next play is upcoming. Montana with Washington in the backfield. Play fake to Washington. Fires across the middle. Has a man. Touchdown. Julius Walker, the tight end, with his 3rd touchdown of the season for Lewis and Clark. Springs free. His first touch of the day nets 6 more points for the Pioneers. They now lead it 27-6. 3:19 showing, so a ton of time for the Bearcats once they get the ball back. Tien Wong on once again to attempt the point after try. It's halftime in Tacoma. Pacific Lutheran with a 2-touchdown advantage. They are shutting out the Loggers 14-0. Who cares about that game, though, when you've got Linfield and Whitworth duking it out? There's 1:13 left in the first half, and they are all tied up in McMinnville. 14 apiece. Whitworth moments ago punching it in. Point after try was good there, so 14-14 your score with 1:13 showing on the first half clock in McMinnville between the two titans of our league so far this season. Both of them 8-0 coming in, 6-0 in the Northwest Conference. Just an absolutely massive game to end the season in our league. 28-6 our score here. One more game upcoming this afternoon, 4 o'clock kickoff. George Fox hosting Pacific in what will be the final game of the regular season. All told, kickoff is away right down the middle of the field, sliding a couple of steps to his right, fielding the kick, Jarek Little. Nice couple of moves as he works his way all the way across the 35-yard line, finally brought down close to the numbers between the 30 and the 40. Wrestled down just across the 35. I think they'll mark him down at the 36, so a quality return for Jarek Little. And once again, the Bearcats have had good starting field position every single time they've had the ball today. However, the last couple of times they've had it, it's been tough sledding. Consecutive 3-and-outs on their last 2 possessions, and we'll see if Alex Rivera and the Bearcats offense can get back on track for what could be the final drive of the first half. 3:09 left here in the first half. 28-6 the score. Alex Rivera from the shotgun with Stephen Wright in the backfield, offset to his left. Bunch of receivers to the left side of the formation. Nick Goff, the underneath receiver of those 3, comes back for the ball, and it's dropped outside the numbers. Correction, inside the numbers, between the hash and the numbers, right at the 40, so a gain of 4 for the Bearcats. With under 3 to play now in the first half, the Bearcats set to go to work from the near side hash. Right to the right now of Alex Rivera, and a bunch formation at the top. Pioneers shifting around pre-snap. Now Rivera fires downfield as a man across the seam. That's Trajan Clark doubled up in coverage. Another good-looking ball out of the hands of Alex Rivera. Just can't make it connect with its intended receiver, Trajan Clark, who had flashed free for a moment, but credit the Pioneers for converging on him. And there just wasn't a whole lot of space between him and those DBs by the time the pass sailed incomplete. So 3rd and 6 now. Clock stopped with exactly 2.5 showing here in the first half. Rivera waits on the shotgun snap. Goff with a little stutter step motion across the middle. That one right between receivers. Brandon Johnson and Nick Goff in the vicinity, but the pass went right between them, just threaded the needle. And it's another 3-and-out for Willamette. And this is a bit of a danger zone for the Bearcats, as there's 2:27 left on the clock, and Lewis and Clark with all 3 timeouts to play with. George Wiles-Kohler set to punt. Ben Burnham stands astride his own 27-yard line, awaiting the kick. Calls for the fair catch, backs up to his own 25, fields it there. So 75 yards to go for Lewis and Clark. A lot of time and a bunch of timeouts in the hip pocket for this Lewis and Clark offense. And once again, we'll see Cruz Montana now 17 of 22 for 254 first-half yards in this contest. A pair of touchdowns as well. The other touchdowns coming courtesy of Elijah Washington. He's got 11 carries for 51 yards. On first down, firing into the far side flat. Montana just puts it right on his man. That's a good-looking, crisp pass to Des Holton. Dances around outside. The number is brought down after a gain of 6. So 2nd and 4 as we hit the 2-minute mark exactly of the first half. Montana looks to his right, barks out some signals. Now motions in Des Holton. Takes the snap, drops back, deep drop, finds a man wide open, streaking down the sideline. Des Holton accelerates all the way into the end zone. And with that touchdown pass, Cruz Montana will go over 300 yards passing here in the first half, and that's the 3rd touchdown he's thrown. My goodness. So with 1:40 left, the Bearcats will get the ball back. The try is good for Tien Wong. He's perfect on all 5 PATs today. And now Lewis and Clark really opening things up. 100 seconds left before halftime, and Lewis and Clark leads 35-6. So far, 19 of 24, 329 yards passing, and 3 touchdowns. Ben Burnham's got 6 catches, 116 yards. Des Holton, 4 catches, 85 yards, and that long touchdown a moment ago for 69. Kickoff taken by Jarek Little. Cuts back to his left, spills across the 25, dropped at the 28. And we've got flags flying in from behind the play at the end of the play. Not altogether sure which of those 2 parties will be called the offending party. So again, Cruz Montana, 329 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He's thrown passes to 7 different receivers and 3 different guys on this Lewis and Clark offense.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 1, Lewis and Clark. This is his first unsportsmanlike penalty of the game. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down, Willamette.
Lopez on special teams for Lewis and Clark. So again, the Bearcats with excellent field position. Out across their own 40. Ball spotted between the hashes at the 43. 1:33 left here in the first half. And the Bearcats have, I believe, 2 timeouts remaining. Yes, they do. So a pair of timeouts. 57 yards to cover. And 1:33 to do it in. Rivera from the shotgun. Scans the field, looks to his right, has a man pass downfield. There was some contact down there. No flag coming. Some colorful language from the Bearcats booth next door. They saw what I saw. They're probably as bummed as you at the fact that there was no penalty called. Some contact downfield, no question. Trajan Clark was wrapped up. No flagging at 2nd and 10. 1:28 showing just 5 seconds ticking off the clock as that pass was incomplete. So Alex Rivera, the Balls look good coming out of his hand. He just hasn't been able to connect with anyone just yet. Clark motions. Rivera across the middle. Beautiful pass. Slots it between two defenders. Hanging on across the middle. My goodness. Tyler Epifanio hauls that in. The transfer from Whitworth moves the chains and moves the ball into Lewis and Clark territory. Man, oh man. Alex Rivera just ripped off that pass. Credit Epifanio. He knew he was going to take a lick coming across the middle. Held onto the ball, moves the sticks. 1st and 10 Bearcats at the Lewis and Clark 42. Rivera takes the snap, looks downfield, fires across the middle again. Lots of space in front of Brandon Johnson. He's hauled down eventually near the 20. So now Alex Rivera starting to connect on those passes. Again, it's looked so good coming out of his hands. He just had not been able to find a completion the first couple of times he was on the field, but back-to-back big chunk plays for the Bearcats, and they're just outside the red zone. 40 seconds left. Rivera taking some time. We're down to 35 seconds on the clock. Herrera shifts to the right side. Rivera fakes the handoff, dumps it off in the flat. It's Johnson again, dragged at about the 10. And the Bearcats will stop the clock, I believe, with 26 seconds left. Yes, interim head coach Tim Rude will signal timeout number 2. So the Bearcats moving the ball. By the way, 6 seconds left in the first half between Linfield and Whitworth. Still tied at 14 in McMinnville. So good to see Alex Rivera completing some passes on this drive just before halftime. Bearcats would, of course, love to get 6 points up on the board. They've got 26 seconds and 1 timeout remaining. Once the huddle here on the near side breaks, and the offense makes its way back to the line of scrimmage. Rivera and Herrera will line up in the backfield. 3 wideouts to the near side. Nick Goff, Trajan Clark, and Epifanio at the top of the formation. All the way out wide is Brandon Johnson. No tight end on the field. Lewis and Clark shows blitz. They bring it. Trajan Clark hauls in the pass. At about the 6, he's dropped there after a gain of 5. Lewis and Clark blitzing on that play. Rivera doing a very nice job getting the ball out quickly, but the Bearcats forced to burn their final timeout with 18 seconds left. So that is the 3rd and final timeout for this team here in the first half. We're down to 18 seconds. So without another timeout remaining, very likely the ball's got a whole playbook is not open at this point. The middle of the field, unless it's a pass into the end zone. Do not want the clock to run out when you're knocking on the door. It will be 2nd and 4. The Bearcats can still pick up a first down. Ball lined up at the 6. Smack in the middle of the field for Alex Rivera and the Bearcats offense. Herrera offset to his right from the shotgun. Bunch formation at the top. On the near side, it's Brandon Johnson. Rivera takes the snap, drops back. He's dropped in the backfield. Tries to throw the ball away, but they're saying he's down. So the Bearcats offense has to hustle back to the line of scrimmage. The clock is stopped, but it shouldn't be. We'll hold everything. Now the flag flies in. There's a whole lot of barking coming. The referee looked like he indicated that Rivera's knee was down. He did dump the ball out.
False start. Offense, number 28. The foul occurred under 1 minute on a running clock and requires a 10-second subtraction. This is the end of the first half.
The half will come to an unceremonious end as the false start whistled against the Bearcats with a running clock. And with under a minute, that does result in a 10-second runoff. And with just 5 seconds showing on the clock, that does, in fact, elapse the clock all the way to zeros. The Bearcats had a very promising drive at the end of the first half. However, forced to burn their final timeout with 18 seconds left, and then the sack on the all-out blitz relegates the Bearcats to the locker room, trailing 35-6. We'll take an extended break here on the broadcast. We'll come back, in about 15 minutes time for a look back at first half stats and a look ahead to second half action between the Bearcats and the Pioneers right here on the Bearcat Network.
My role is the organizer and founder of both Indigenous Now and the Indigenous Peoples Day event, pretty much making sure everything's going smoothly. Indigenous Now, what we do is we advocate and we educate our communities, especially our Indigenous and Native students. So this is what we do in our community. We also do protests also to educate the people of Salem Kaiser on all of our Native issues. This is a day to let people know that we are still here. We are still struggling. There's still a struggle in our society that we still have to fight. Our Native issues regarding water, land. We have speakers that will be speaking, and we'll have some expedition dancing of our native dances. There's also some performers that are from the indigenous areas of our brothers and sisters south of us. The Red Dress Project is the way of introducing our murdered and missing indigenous relatives. We want to bring awareness to this to let them know that this is real, and it's painful for some of us because it's family. And always wanting to remind people that we are human beings. Follow us on our Instagram and our Facebook pages for any updates or any actions that we're doing. Listen and observe. This is what we were taught when we were little. This is why we're so connected to the earth. So we want people to start listening and learning our histories and our issues so that they can understand the struggles that we've been going through all since 1492.
What seemed to be the entire community of Salem gathered at Marion Square Park on Saturday, September 16th to attend and to lend a helping hand at this year's Punks in the Park. Punks in the Park is Salem's fastest growing music and resource festival for at-risk youth. Along with band performances and resource booths, there was a free closet for youth, a Build-A-Punk station, free meals and free haircuts for youth, and so much more. We spoke with the founders of Punks with Purpose, the nonprofit that hosts Punks in the Park, about why and how it all started.
I created Punks with Purpose because I was a youth experiencing homelessness. Unfortunately, my mom had a lot of mental issues, and it wasn't very talked about, and she didn't have the resources for it. So I wish I had somebody like me, so I became her.
Youth were given informational pamphlets with a passport for the 60-plus resource booths that were there. They visited each booth to receive a stamp, and in the end, they got a prize. A fun way for the youth to learn about and to access the resources available for them within the community.
I was a homeless youth here, and what we're doing is uplifting their voices and making sure that they are heard and giving them an outlet.
We get a lot of questions as to why we hold it at this park. Why not use Riverfront? Why not, there's so many better places for this. It's because we want to meet them where they're at. Let's make a scary place into a fun place. Let's make good memories here instead of bad memories.
What really resonated with me was the responses that we got last year. I had a mother come up to me and say, hey, I had a kid that always wanted to skate at this park. Look over there, he's doing it right now. Looking at all of the statistics and whatnot, it's like, wow, this is really needed here.
The 2020 U.S. Census showed that for Marion and Polk counties, 6,900 youth and young adults ages 13 to 24 were at risk of homelessness, and more than 1,500 were experiencing homelessness.
It started with us in a coffee shop being like, hey, even if we have to barbecue, bring some resources and a boombox, we just need to get youth involved and be like, hey, we have elder punks that are just like you, that we survived, we're here to inspire you, we're here to love on you, we're here to support you, and then it turned into a concert, so here it is. Right now, our biggest impact is our resource event. We have 60 youth-based resource tables here, which is absolutely wild. You have to serve youth in order to be able to participate here.
One resource, Heart to Souls, showed up to do their part as well.
Heart to Souls was founded by Micah Sisko and Brian McMullen with the mission to provide local foster youth with a new pair of shoes. We were able to put together about 50 shoes for some of the local youth, and we have them all here ready to go. So they're going to be swinging by picking up their shoes.
We have a ton of resources here that are youth focused, but a lot of these youth either don't know about it or are not allowed to reach out to these places. And that's the reason why we do something like this. Like, hey, we're going to a concert, right on. Hey, there's resources too.
Some of the youth that we encounter don't have good days. This is a good day. We give them the stage, we let them tell us their story, we let people hear.
The youth are smart, they know what they want, they know what they need, and they need us to listen more than anything.
Our youth are very strong and they're very durable, but they shouldn't have to be. We should be the ones that's empowering them and supporting them. I want the youth to be able to come in here and be like, oh man, what's this? And then leave knowing that they're empowered, supported, that they have community resources, that they can see somebody walking on the street, they see me on the street being like, hey, yo, you're the CMO, and know that they have a community around them that will guide them and help them when they're in need.
Punks with Purpose officially became a nonprofit as of this year with a mission to provide perspective on the challenges threatening our youth today.
To see our community rising up for our youth is everything to me. There's a lot of organizations that are doing some awesome things for our youth. You can always hit us up at punkswithpurpose.org and we can, direct you or guide you like, hey, I have this skill or I have this knowledge. I want to help, how can I help? We can help direct you and guide you to maybe somewhere where you'll just click and you'll be like, this is great.
Much love to our community, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do something this big and reach as many youth as we have. If we all come together, we can help them turn into really functional members in our community and keep this thing growing on and on.
To find out more about Punks with Purpose, visit their website at punkswithpurpose.org and find them on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Today we are in the Smith Auditorium and we are celebrating the 32nd Willamette University Luau. Yeah, it was really nice being able to see the audience out there today and the smiles on their faces. It was also lovely hearing their cheering. But yeah, I really hope that they were able to take a piece of Hawaii with them today and hopefully share their aloha spirit with others as well. If you want to know more information about Hawaii Club at Willamette University, please follow our Instagram at WU_HI Club.
What seemed to be the entire community of Salem gathered at Marion Square Park on Saturday, September 16th to attend and to lend a helping hand at this year's Punks in the Park. Punks in the Park is Salem's fastest growing music and resource festival for at-risk youth. Along with band performances and resource booths, there was a free closet for youth, a Build-A-Punk station, free meals and free haircuts for youth, and so much more. We spoke with the founders of Punks with Purpose, the nonprofit that hosts Punks in the Park, about why and how it all started.
I created Punks with Purpose because I was a youth experiencing homelessness. Unfortunately, my mom had a lot of mental issues and it wasn't very talked about and she didn't have the resources for it. So I wish I had somebody like me, so I became her.
Youth were given informational pamphlets with a passport for the 60-plus resource booths that were there. They visited each booth to receive a stamp, and in the end, they got a prize. A fun way for the youth to learn about and to access the resources available for them within the community.
I was a homeless youth here, and what we're doing is uplifting their voices and making sure that they are heard and giving them an outlet.
We get a lot of questions as to why we hold it at this park. Why not use Riverfront? Why not, there's so many better places for this. It's because we want to meet them where they're at. Let's make a scary place into a fun place. Let's make good memories here instead of bad memories.
What really resonated with me was the responses that we got last year. I had a mother come up to me and say, hey, I had a kid that always wanted to skate at this park. Look over there, he's doing it right now. Looking at all of the statistics and whatnot, it's like, wow, this is really needed here.
The 2020 U.S. Census showed that for Marion and Polk counties, 6,900 youth and young adults ages 13 to 24 were at risk of homelessness, and more than 1,500 were experiencing homelessness.
It started with us in a coffee shop being like, hey, even if we have to barbecue, bring some resources and a boombox, we just need to get youth involved and be like, hey, we have elder punks that are just like you, that we survived, we're here to inspire you, we're here to love on you, we're here to support you, and then it turned into a concert, so here it is. Right now, our biggest impact is our resource event. We have 60 youth-based resource tables here, which is absolutely wild. You have to serve youth in order to be able to participate here.
One resource, Heart to Souls, showed up to do their part as well.
Heart to Souls was founded by Micah Cisco and Brian McMulloch with the mission to provide local foster youth with a new pair of shoes. We were able to put together about 50 shoes for some of the local youth, and we have them all here ready to go. So yeah, they're going to be swinging by picking up their shoes.
We have a ton of resources here that are youth focused, but a lot of these youth either don't know about it or are not allowed to reach out to these places. And that's the reason why we do something like this. Hey, we're going to a concert, right on. Hey, there's resources too.
Some of the youth that we encounter don't have good days. This is a good day. We give them the stage, we let them tell us their story, we let people hear.
The youth are smart, they know what they want, they know what they need, and they need us to listen more than anything.
Our youth are very strong and they're very durable, but they shouldn't have to be. We should be the ones that's empowering them and supporting them. I want the youth to be able to come in here and be like, oh man, what's this? And then leave knowing that they're empowered, supported, that they have community resources, that they can see somebody walking on the street. They see me on the street being like, hey, yo, you're the CMO, and like know that they have a community around them that will guide them and like help them when they're in need.
Punks with Purpose officially became a nonprofit as of this year with a mission to provide perspective on the challenges threatening our youth today.
To see our community rising up for our youth is everything to me. There's a lot of organizations that are doing some awesome things for our youth. You can always hit us up at punkswithpurpose.org and we can, direct you or guide you like, hey, I have this skill or I have this knowledge. I want to help, how can I help? We can help direct you and guide you to maybe somewhere where you'll just click and you'll be like, this is great.
Much love to our community, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do something this big and reach as many youth as we have. If we all come together, we can help them turn into really functional members in our community and keep this thing growing on and on.
To find out more about Punks with Purpose, visit their website at punkswithpurpose.org and find them on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Today we're celebrating the completion of Ed Davison Field, which is the first of a series of improvements that we're making at our youth sports complex, Pioneer Sports Park. So we're really excited to see the turf come out and everybody who's out here today. I played here when it was mud and dirt from all the way when I was 5 years old all the way till now. And so to see this space and what it represents for our kids, the economic impact that it brings to our community in terms of kids and families coming in to play sports and do these things, it's just a huge investment into the kids in our community. If you want more information, you can visit cfcsalem.com.
Welcome back to McCulloch Stadium here in Salem, Washington, just down the road from the actual proper campus of Willamette University. We are just about set for second half action. In fact, we are set for second half action. The second half kickoff sails into the hands of Jarek Little, taken right up the middle of the field. Works his way across the 30-yard line, eventually brought down here at about the near side hash, I think just shy of the 35. The quality return. Special teams has been doing its job thus far for the Bearcats. The bad news, of course, for the Bearcats, they had a drive going right in the waning moments of the first half. It was ended by an expiring clock. The good news, they get the ball here to start the second half. The Bearcats now moving left to right on your screen. Alex Rivera back on the field as the quarterback for the Bearcats to begin the third quarter. 35-6 our score. A first half largely controlled by the Lewis and Clark offense, as the score would indicate. Just a sparkling performance from Cruz, Montana. Brandon Johnson can't quite hold on to that pass. It was a slow developing play all the way across the field. Johnson was open. Good looking throw with some zip on it. Out of the hand of Alex Rivera. They can't quite connect. And it's 2nd and 10 for the Bearcats on the opening possession of the second half. They are just underway in McMinnville. I'm sorry to keep harping on this one, but it's such a huge game. 17-14 the score there. Linfield was able to come back after Whitworth tied the game with about a minute left in the first half. Linfield worked the ball right down the field, got into field goal range, kicked a field goal. Here is Gabe Herrera getting loose down the left side, all the way inside the 40 of Lewis and Clark. Gabe Rivera gets out in space, hits the gas, turns on the jets, blows past everyone, finally chased out of bounds inside the 35, marked out of bounds at the 34-yard line. That is the second gigantic run of the day for Gabe Herrera. Also got a touchdown to his name. Has a 44-yard run, and now that one as well. We'll tally that up here in just a sec. On first down, Rivera drops back, wants to pass, steps up, slides to his left, has a man. Pass bobbled for a moment, but eventually reeled in by Brandon Johnson. Way to stay with it. Number 7 moves the sticks. The Bearcats driving now inside the 25 of Lewis and Clark. Got their defense kind of rocking back on its heels for the moment. And here we go from the 24 of Lewis and Clark. Rivera with Herrera to his left. Hands it off to Rivera. To Herrera, excuse me. Cuts it back inside. Had a hole for a moment, but it closed pretty quickly. Not before Herrera gained a couple. So 2nd and 8 now. Coming up near the middle of the field, between the hashes. 3 wides to the left of the formation. Brandon Johnson just inside the numbers here on the near side of the field. 2nd and 8. Upcoming for the Bearcats. Rivera takes the snap. Quick drop. Drivers into the slot on a little crossing pattern. Kind of slanting in was Trajan Clark. He's near the line to gain, but I think they'll mark him down a yard shy, and they will. So it is 3rd and 1 now in the red zone for Willamette from the Pioneers' 15-yard line. The Bearcats will bring some extra men into the backfield for this next play. They'll bunch things up a little closer to the line of scrimmage this time. Draw the wideouts in tight. It's Herrera and Dylan Hall in the backfield, offset on either side of Alex Rivera. 3rd and 1. Herrera on the snap, has the first down. Doesn't get much more than that, but it doesn't matter. All he wanted to do there was move the change, get that fresh set of downs on 3rd and 1. Does his job, and the Bearcats now just cooking. 1st and 10 from the Lewis and Clark 13-yard line. Upcoming, a very strong opening drive. The drive right before the end of the half looked great as well. Just an unfortunate set of circumstances kept the Bearcats from being able to score. Didn't have an opportunity to run a final play as a penalty on a running clock ended it. Now Rivera looks to his right on first down, has a man in the end zone, leaping grab for Tyler Epifanio. Touchdown Bearcats. That is exactly what Willamette needed to open the second half. What a drive. Set up on the nice kickoff return from Jarek Little, and Alex Rivera steers the offense down the field, and it results in 6 points. Epifanio hauls in the touchdown grab. And Dernberger, good on the point after try. And it's 35-13 here in Salem, 11:37 left in the third quarter. A lot of very good plays on that drive for the Bearcats. Perhaps the biggest, the 32-yard rumble from Gabe Herrera, having himself a nice little day. He's got runs of 44 and 32 on the day now. And that was a 7-play, 66-yard drive that took just under 3.5 minutes off the clock here to start the second half. And the Bearcats very much alive. They trail by a bunch still, but how about that very impressive drive to open things up here? I think they were probably a little demoralized at the end of the first half, but they showed no signs of that whatsoever on their first possession of the second half. Marched the ball right down the field, straight down the throat of the Lewis and Clark defense. Now here's Dernberger kicking off. Backing up all the way inside his own 10-yard line. Thomas Reagan. Good open field pursuit. That's Javi Rodriguez flying in on special teams. Javi Rodriguez, by the way, a guy that was singled out by interim head coach Tim Rude. He told me very specifically.
Offside. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down, Lewis and Clark.
On the kickoff. They're calling offside on the Bearcats. So they'll tack 5 yards on at the end of the run for Thomas Reagan. He was cut down at about the 27. The penalty will move it to the 32 here on the near side hash, and that's the spot from which Lewis and Clark will open things up here in the second half. Back on the field at quarterback. We weren't quite sure if it was going to be Trey Morris or Cruz Montana. Wants to all here on first down to open things up here in the third quarter. Cruz Montana just letting it fly, bombing a pass down the field, well out of reach of Ben Burnham, his intended receiver. There was a lot going on in that play, but credit the Bearcats defense. They didn't fall for any of that weird stuff that Lewis and Clark was trying to throw at them there. They had everybody covered up. That pass didn't have much of a chance. So Lewis and Clark on first down on their first play of the second half, just going for the jugular, but coming up completely empty. Here on second down, Washington cut down after a gain of maybe a yard, and that's it. Great open field tackle right around the knees and ankles. Drops Washington for a very short gain. In fact, they'll mark him right down at the line of scrimmage, so it's no gain at all. So 3rd and 10 for the Pioneers. Cruz Montana with 3 wide outs here to the near side. At the top of the formation is Devin Guest, isolated. The receiver nearest his own boundary on the numbers. In fact, Cruz Montana will dial his number. And Devin Guest with a first down catch. Gain of 12 yards. A couple of yards past the line to gain. So on 3rd and 10, Lewis and Clark able to convert. Would have been a massive stop for the Bearcats had they gotten it. Instead, it's 1st and 10. And here's an inside carry for Jordan Lahusky. Have not seen much from him. He does have 44 carries on the season coming in. 10 catches out of the backfield as well. For the change of pace back in this Lewis and Clark offense. He stays on the field for 2nd down after a solid gain of 6 out to midfield. So 2nd and 4, right at the 50. Just above the top of the Bearcats logo from the far side hash for Cruz Montana. Takes the shotgun snap, looks to his right, nearly brought down in the backfield. Now Tux gets around a defender and gets to the perimeter. And I believe we're going to have a penalty coming up, and we will. My goodness, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 flags fly in. As Cruz Montana did, in fact, get tackled out of bounds late. Michael Valtiero was one of the 2 guys there in pursuit. 4 flags fly in at the end of that play. I see a referee with his hat off as well. Maybe he threw 2 flags on that play.
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 20 of the defense. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic, 1st down.
Sometimes when that hat flies in as well, it's either a second flag or it's someone was out of bounds. Well, Cruz Montana was dead to rights there for a moment. Instead, it's a 1st down at the 28-yard line. Wide open receiver here on the near side flat. That's Des Holton. Picks up some yards after the catch. Yaks it up a little bit. He's all the way down to the 10-yard line. Make it the 11, so just shy of the 10. No Markham out of bounds there. So Cruz Montana continues to do it with his arm. Montana now up to 356 yards passing in this game. 21 of 27 through the air. Montana with Washington in the backfield. It's a design run for Montana, but the whistle blows and penalty markers fly in before that play can get started. Either an illegal procedure or a false start coming up against Lewis and Clark.
Still 1st down.
It is, in fact, a false start on the Pioneers, so that'll back them up 5. They can pick up another 1st down. Down at about the 2, maybe the 3-yard line. Hard to tell from our angle. Press box has me set up here on the 40-yard line at the other end of the field. Not quite at midfield. So down at that end, it looks like the ball now on the 17, so they'd have to get to the 2 for a 1st down. Montana takes the snap, hands it off to Washington. Gets outside the numbers, chased out of bounds, shy of the 15-yard line. Not much doing there. I'm not sure if he even got anything more than the line of scrimmage. They will, in fact, mark him down to the 15. They'll respot the ball here on the near side hash. Clock running with less than 8.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. On 2nd down, Montana rolls to his right, fires toward the end zone into double coverage. That pass not near its intended receiver. So excellent coverage. Dom Corrado cheating off from his safety spot. So Taka Kanai out there on coverage for the Bearcats. And now it's 3rd and 15. Make it 3rd and 13 from the 15 for Lewis and Clark. Bearcats could really use a stop here. Tien Huang, a really good kicker. He's 9 of 10 on field goals if they need him. Instead, he fires a pass across the middle. Des Holton hangs on. He's brought down short of the goal line, but it's enough to move the sticks. My goodness. How about that connection from Cruz, Montana? On a short slant route, Des Holton brought down right at the 2-yard line, which was the line to gain for this Lewis and Clark offense, and it's 1st and goal from there. They'll bunch everything in up close and tight. This is the first time we've seen Montana under center with I formation. Now it's a trick play. They'll on the pitch back. Cruz Montana is the receiver on that touchdown pass from Elijah Washington from the tailback position. They were lined up in I formation. Montana pitches back to Elijah Washington, then scoots out into the near side flat. He's all alone. Washington throws it back to him. And Cruz Montana with a he's already thrown for 3 touchdowns. Why not catch one as well? Tien Wong good on the PAT. And Lewis and Clark restakes themselves to a 29-point lead at 42-13 after a very long touchdown drive. They will kick off to the Bearcats in just a moment.
Hey, that way. You got this.
68-yard drive that took exactly 4 minutes off the clock for Lewis and Clark. Little trick play on 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. Elijah Washington, the tailback, was rushed for 2 touchdowns, caught 2 more. Well, now he's got a passing touchdown as well as he throws it to his quarterback, Cruz Montana, who'd already thrown for 3 touchdowns on the day and has now caught one as well. Outstanding kickoff. Not great coverage, however, for Lewis and Clark, but the ball maybe loose. There's a big pile. Referees come running in. No indication yet whether there was a fumble or who has the ball. They'll uncover the pile. Lewis and Clark says they have it. Well, and they do. So Lewis and Clark didn't do such a hot job in coverage there as that kickoff backed the return man all the way back to the 5-yard line. A little bit of miscommunication at the back end of that special teams return for Willamette. Able to work the ball all the way out to close to the 30. However, Nick Goff coughed up the ball, and just like that, the Pioneers back in business, knocking on the door inside the Bearcats' 30-yard line. They just scored a moment ago, and they're already in dangerous territory. From the 28, the whistle blows before the snap.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Lewis and Clark, their first of the second half.
Timeout, 42-13 our score. with a big hole right in front of him. Works his way inside the 20. He's close to the line to gain. They'll mark him, I think, right at the sticks. So preliminary indication anyway, yes, they will move the chains, referee calling for it. The chain gang slides up to the 18 and 8 respectively after the gain of 10 yards on first down for Elijah Washington. So once again, the Pioneers in the red zone. A big lead, 42-13. Montana still on the field at quarterback. Here's a handoff to Lindell Betts. He tries the right side, gets outside. The number is brought down inbounds, short of the 15-yard line, so not much doing. Good pursuit there from the Bearcats. Just a gain of a yard on that one, so second and long upcoming. The Lutes have really opened things up against the Loggers up in Tacoma. They now lead 35-7. PLU taking it to UPS. Here on second down, Elijah Washington gets into the second level of the defense. He's inside the 10. He might have another first down. They will, in fact, move the sticks again, so it'll be first and goal now for Lewis and Clark at the 8-yard line. The other game, of course, in our league. It's Linfield now with a 10-point advantage with just under 4.5 to play in the third quarter. 24-14 up in McMinnville. They lead Whitworth. Here in Salem, it's first and goal for Lewis and Clark. 3 wides to the right, 1 to the left. Washington stands offset to the left of quarterback Cruz Montana. Montana steps up, tucks and goes, gets through contact, fights his way toward the goal line. I think they'll mark him just short, and they will. He's down at the 1-yard line. Cruz Montana just crashing through traffic. He has slipped out of tackles in the backfield and near the line of scrimmage a number of different times this afternoon. Just when it looks like the Bearcats have converged on him, bottled him up, he just manages to squirt out of it. And now on first and goal, here comes the tush push. The version of it anyway for Lewis and Clark. Markers flying from everywhere. There's 4 flags on the field, all of them in the end zone. We'll get that sorted out. So yes, it's been Linfield and Whitworth all season long. Head and shoulders just better than everyone else. Undefeated, of course, both of them. In fact, no other team in the Northwest Conference comes into the day with a record of 500 or better. There's a couple of teams.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Illegal substitution, 12 men on the field, and offside. Defense, we will go half the distance and replay, second down.
So an illegal substitution and an offsides penalty whistled against Willamette. Now the down marker says second, but I believe it's still first down. It ought to be anyway. So it's actually first and goal. On play action, there's a man in the back of the end zone falling to his knees, catching the pass, reeling it in for the touchdown. I believe that might be Riley Gann, a tight end for Lewis and Clark. So on first and goal from the 1-yard line. Check that it was second and goal. I forgot about the Montana carry from the 8 all the way down to the 1-yard line. So excuse me on that. Point after try up again, once again for Tien Huang. And now Lewis and Clark leads it 49-13. Another touchdown for this Lewis and Clark team in 2 possessions so far here in half number 2. scores. Lewis and Clark continues to open things up here in the season finale for each of these two teams. With a win today, Lewis and Clark can be another of the teams that can get to 500 today. They come in 4-5 overall. As the kickoff settles into the hands of Jarek Little, he works his way left to right. Running east and west, not much doing, brought down well short of the 20-yard line. I think forward progress will mark him across the 15. They'll set the ball down here on the near side hash at the 16-yard line. So a long field upcoming, the worst starting field position of the day by far, in fact, for the Bearcats. That was a 5-play, 28-yard drive off of the first turnover of the game by either team. Nick Goff stripped of the ball on a kickoff after the preceding touchdown for Lewis and Clark, setting the Pioneers up with their best starting field position of the day. Rivera, quick pass over the middle into the hands of Brandon Johnson. He's cut down across the 25. Might have enough for a first down, and I believe he does. They'll move the chains. So nice play for Willamette on first down. Brandon Johnson having a nice little day. He's been a favorite receiver of both quarterbacks so far this afternoon. We saw Seth Beach targeting Brandon Johnson early in this game. Alex Rivera starting to zero in on him a little bit here as well. Rivera with a couple of setbacks, one to either side of him. Takes the snap, looks to his right. Looking for Epifanio. Dials one up in his direction. Covered up by Stephen Keene, 10 tackles on the season. So 2nd and 10 now for the Bearcats at their own 26-yard line. Lewis and Clark and Pacific Lutheran, the two teams that can reach 500 with wins today, and they're in the driver's seat, each of them right now. Pacific Lutheran leading Puget Sound 35-7. And the Pioneers, of course, leading today. Blitz coming. Nice pass out of the backfield. Connected with Stephen Wright. He's at the 35-yard line. 1 yard shy of the line to gain. So Willamette does a nice job fighting through the blitz. Lewis and Clark bringing pressure on second down. Quick hitter out of the backfield for Stephen Wright, and that's 9 yards. And it's 3rd and short for the Bearcats from their own 35. Again, setbacks to either side. Dylan Hall to his right, Stephen Wright to his left. Rivera waits on the shotgun snap, play fake. Dumps it off over the shoulder of the tight end, Dylan Hall. Alex Rivera kind of rushing that pass a little bit. Putting a little bit too much air under it. Not much of a chance for Dylan Hall to run underneath it. Snatch it out of the air. So on 4th and 1, the Bearcats look like they intend to go for it. The offense stays on the field. Rivera from the shotgun. Stephen Wright to his right. 2 wides to either side. Once again, the Pioneers shifting around up front. They'll bring 5 in tight to the line of scrimmage. Good protection in the backfield. Epifanio can't quite reach down and scoop that pass. It was a little bit low, and Epifanio did what he could with it, but that was a tough spot to be able to handle that pass. And the Bearcats will turn it over on downs. And so Lewis and Clark will take over at the 35 of Willamette. And we'll see if we're ready for Trey Morris time. In fact, we are. Trey Morris makes his way onto the field, so a quarterback change for Lewis and Clark. We'll get our first look at the 6-foot senior from Seattle. Now, he's coming back next year. He's a senior, but part of the reason why we saw so much of Cruz, Montana. Morris dumps it off underneath, has a man. It's Wade Bowman. Works his way all the way down inside the 20. He's finally pinballed to the turf at about the 15-yard line. So nice little well-designed play to get Trey Morris into the flow. Now, Wade Bowman's kind of an interesting case. He's actually listed as a quarterback on their roster, but he's also caught 6 passes for this team. That being number 6 right there, and it sets up Lewis and Clark in the red zone. Trey Morris, 96 completions on 148 passes this year. He hands off here, getting to the corner, working his way toward the pylon. Did he get in? No, they'll mark him just shy of the goal line. He stepped out at the 2. That was Jordan Lahusky on the carry. He's been a very reliable second option change of pace back for this Lewis and Clark team this season. The clock will wind. But once again, it's 1st and goal for Lewis and Clark at the Bearcats' 2-yard line. Lewis and Clark will shuffle in a whole mess of reinforcements here up front. They'll bring a whole different offensive line onto the field for 1st and goal. Bearcats will slide some new defenders in for this play as well. Heavy formation here from the near side hash. Morris under center, turns, hands off into the end zone. Jordan Lahusky, touchdown, Lewis and Clark. Well, it was a short field for Lewis and Clark to work with. They send their regular starting quarterback onto the field for the first time today, Trey Morris. And it didn't take long for him to guide the Lewis and Clark offense into the end zone. Jordan Lahusky responsible for a good portion of that drive. Big gain to set them up at the 2-yard line. Nearly got in on that play, but stepped out of bounds a couple of yards outside the end zone before he was able to connect with the pylon. But scores from 2 yards out 1 play later. And now Lewis and Clark really pouring it on. They lead 56-13 with 1:50 left here in the 3rd. Changed in our other 2 games in action right now in the Northwest Conference. They're about 12 minutes and 14 seconds out. In Tacoma, the Lutes continue to lead Puget Sound 35-7, and they are just getting started with 4th quarter action in McMinnville. Linfield continues to lead Whitworth 24-14 in a battle of the unbeaten squads from the Northwest Conference. Should Linfield hang on for that win, they will head into the postseason with a perfect 9-0 record. I think Whitworth has a very good chance, a very good case to make for a postseason berth of their own. We might have 2 representatives from the Northwest Conference in the NCAA Division III football postseason. Seth Beach back on the field, dumps it off. It's Dylan Hall, senior to senior. Hall just tripped up by the turf monster. But good to see Dylan Hall with a reception here. In what is his final game in a Bearcats uniform as well. And quite frankly, just good to see Dylan Hall on the field at all. He's had some injury problems all season. You know, of course, if you're familiar with this program, Dylan Hall, a linebacker for much of his career here with the Bearcats, but due to personnel issues up and down the roster, just a lot of guys banged up, dinged up, unable to give it a go. Dylan Hall just being a good teammate, doing whatever the team asks him to do. Slides over, starts taking reps as a tight end for this team. Got the catch a play ago. Seth Beach, his senior teammate, snowed under right there after a gain of a yard. Actually dropped for a loss of a yard. So it's 3rd and 8 for Seth Beach and the Bearcats offense. from their own 27-yard line. Beach takes the snap, drops, looks to his left, has a man in the flat. It's Epifanio. Tries that one-handed catch, couldn't quite reel it in, defended nicely out on the perimeter. Thomas Reagan in coverage. And this time the Bearcats will elect to bring the punt unit onto the field after the 3 and out. So here's George Wiles-Kohler. High punt, angles toward the far side hash. It's taken by Ben Burnham. Signals for the fair catch, makes it right at the 40-yard line. And there is a penalty marker.
During the punt, holding, number 16 of the kicking team. The 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. First down, Lewis and Clark.
And it's on the return team, as it almost always is. You know what? I just need to stop talking sometimes. It's actually whistled against Willamette. It's almost always on the return team. Not much is true. I got that part right. In this case, I didn't get who the offending party was. The ball is marched out to midfield. This is another new quarterback on the field for Lewis and Clark. This time it's J.T. Willis. On what will be the final play of the third quarter. The final 15 minutes of the football season for each of these teams is coming up on the other side of this break. Quarter upcoming. It's J.T. Willis now on the field at quarterback. One series and done, apparently, for regular quarterback Trey Morris. Willis keeps it. Not much doing there. Well, he will pick up a couple. The ball resting here on the near side hash at the 41-yard line of Willamette. So 3rd and 1 for Willis. Lewis and Clark with a very comfortable 56-13 lead. Bringing in some reinforcements now. The second string offense likely to get its turn for the final 15 minutes of this game. Tailback in the backfield, a freshman from Portland, that's Chili Stevens on 3rd down. For a moment, it looked like Willis was going to get brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Instead, he falls forward, and I believe he has enough for a first down. They think they're going to mark him right at the 40, and if they do, that would, in fact, move the chains, and it will. My goodness, it's just been that kind of day. And really just kind of that kind of season for this Bearcats team. They had J.T. Willis wrapped up in the backfield. What looked like was going to be perhaps a 2, even 3-yard loss. And instead, J.T. Willis keeps the play alive and somehow spins his way to the line to gain and earns the Lewis and Clark offense a fresh set of downs. The clock winds with 13:45 to play. And now here's Willis, left-handed quarterback, wants to pass. Instead, he's wrapped up in the backfield, but he escapes. Rolls to his left, fires downfield. How in the world did J.T. Willis work his way out of the grasp? Jordan Salazar was just about to bring Willis down for a massive loss. And instead, he wiggles free. His pass didn't have much of a chance, but just keeping the play alive was good enough in that sequence for Lewis and Clark. It's 2nd and 10. Clock stopped at 13:28, showing in the fourth quarter. Whitworth has scored. They have pulled within 3. It's 24-21. Willis eludes pressure again, but he's chased down from behind, and this time he will not get away. Orion Woods stays with the play. He whiffed on the first tackle, but chased him down and drops J.T. Willis for a 4-yard loss. Orion Woods just didn't quit, stayed with it. Fights back from his own missed tackle and earns the sack, dropping Willis for the 4-yard loss. So 3rd and long, 3rd and 14 from the Bearcats' 44-yard line. On the hash, nearest the Lewis and Clark sideline. Willis drops back. Nearly brought down by A.J. Conrad. Instead, it's a fantastic open field tackle from Javi Rodriguez, flying around again. Impressive run there for J.T. Willis. He got decked by Javi Rodriguez. And it's 4th and 2 now. Lewis and Clark snaps the ball. Willis not even remotely ready for the snap. Everything fell apart for Lewis and Clark, and it'll cost him a turnover on downs. Well, kind of a bend but don't break defensive series for the Bearcats that go around. And then an offensive meltdown on 4th down for Lewis and Clark. A fundamental mistake, really the first big mistake of this day in this contest for Lewis and Clark. And the Bearcats will open the next drive with Seth Beach back at quarterback from the Bearcats' 41-yard line. So here comes Seth Beach. 2 wideouts in the hip pocket of one another on either side of the formation. Looking downfield, pass is picked off. Looking for Trajan Clark. The free safety drifts back. It is Jordan Delgado. Jordan Delgado, another one of these guys who is listed as a quarterback on this roster, playing a different position. We've got 2, maybe 3 different guys that have caught passes that are listed as quarterbacks on their roster, does this Lewis and Clark team. And there's another quarterback making a play. He gets a catch, but it's on the defensive side of the ball. So Jordan Delgado gets the interception. So yes, it's 24-21 in McMinnville now. 9:51 to play, a 3-point game between those undefeated squads from the Northwest Conference. And now, back at quarterback is the regular starter for Lewis and Clark. They will send Trey Morris back to the field for this next sequence. He hands it off. Michael Moreno, first man into the backfield, wrapping up Chili Stevens for a 1-yard loss. Moreno was the first man to him. Finishing off the play was Jordan Salazar. So 2nd and 11, clock running, 11:10 to play. Trey Morris motions a man in, turns, hands it off for Chili Stevens. No, he doesn't. Play fake, looking deep. Now scrambling to his right, looks downfield. How in the world did he fit that pass in? finds Mateo Mahara at the receiving end of that play. Well, everything was breaking down for Lewis and Clark. Trey Morris does a very nice job keeping the play alive, just slides a few steps to his right, fires downfield outside the numbers, hits his receiver, Mateo Mahara. Came in with just 2 catches on the season. And here on the near side, we've got a Bearcats player who's actually in the sideline for Willamette, down on the field being tended to. So injury timeout on the field. We'll be right back. It's a definite tough break for the Bearcats. That's Hogan Smith, who was injured on that last play. Big part of this Bearcats defense. He's replaced on the field, and Trey Morris, that snap sails right through his hands. Ball still on the turf. Morris finally covers up, pinned to the turf by Ray Passay. But a massive loss on the play for Lewis and Clark, all the way back into their own territory, back at their own 44-yard line. I'm not sure if Morris was ready for the snap or not, but that's the second miscommunication in the backfield. Looked like Morris was looking toward the ball anyway, and he had his hands out, and the ball just went right past him. Now, credit Morris for going back and falling on the ball. Passay chased him down. Gets credit for the big tackle, but that is a huge loss. Now Morris scrambling. Finds Ben Burnham alone in space. He's thrown out of bounds back near the original line of scrimmage. It was 2nd and 29. And now they're looking at 3rd and very manageable from the 39. So a gain of 22 on 2nd and 29. You see a lot of what Trey Morris can do. Again, he's not the most mobile guy, but he does a lot of damage with his arm. He's thrown 14 touchdowns this season, more than 1,200 yards passing. So between them, Morris and Montana have combined for over 2,300 yards coming into today's game. Morris dumps it off for Stevens. Not sure if that was a backwards pass or not. It kind of looked like one from here. This little improvisation from Trey Morris as he just flips the ball. You can't even quite call him a safety valve. I mean, to a very large degree, Chili Stevens was completely out of that play. Those two dudes dial it up, and it's 4th and 2, and Lewis and Clark elects to go for it inside the 35. Morris takes the snap, rolls to his right, has a blocker in front of him. That's Chili Stevens. Instead, fires across the middle. Pass broken up. And for the 2nd consecutive series, Lewis and Clark is turned away by the Bearcats defense. Ray Passay knocks that pass out of the air. And it's back-to-back turnovers on downs for the Lewis and Clark offense. Yeah, Passay just steps right in front of Devin Guest, the intended receiver. The Bearcats playing with pride for the final 9 minutes of this contest. So here's Seth Beach back on the field. Stephen Wright, the one tailback with him. 2 wides to either side. Shotgun snap at the knees. Wright takes the handoff. Dragging defenders across the 40, close to the 45. Stephen Wright might have actually picked up the first down, and I believe he did. Gain of 10 yards on first down from Stephen Wright. Puts a foot in the ground and just hauls a couple defenders along the way, all the way out to the 44-yard line. So some big boy running from Stephen Wright moves the chains. This game likely decided, of course, but great to see the Bearcats playing to the whistle, continuing to play all 60 minutes of this contest. Back-to-back turnovers on downs. The defense playing with some pride. And look at Stephen Wright running like his life depends on it, doing it again right here. Not a lot on that one. He gets outside the hash after picking up a couple. It took 2, even 3 defenders to bring him down after initial contact. Still 24-21 in McMinnville. Now just 5:40 left in that contest. So the Wildcats with a 3-point lead. Seth Beach ready for the shotgun snap. Puts the mouthpiece in. Stephen Wright shifts from left to right behind him. That pass batted away. You know what? My mistake. That's Micah Ho'omanawanui in as quarterback for the Bearcats for this series. Excuse me, I did not notice that was.
5-yard penalty. Replay. Second down.
So this is Micah Ho'omanawanui into the game for his first series of this game. His pass a moment ago knocked down. So 3rd and 8 from the 46 now for the Bearcats. For quarterback Micah Ho'omanawanui, whose brother played linebacker at Lewis and Clark. Stephen Wright the setback. Brandon Johnson here to the near side. 3 wide outs at the top of the formation in a bunch. Now one of them motions, that's Nick Goff. Ho'omanawanui drops. Steps up. Ball knocked out from behind. Good defensive play from Charlie Murrin. Might have been Solomon McDaniel. The ball rolls out of bounds fortuitously for Willamette, but it's a loss of 3. And on 4th and 11, the Bearcats will bring George Wiles-Kohler back onto the field to punt. Gets the punt away after some pressure. Fair catch signaled for by Ben Burnham down close to his own 25-yard line. And the quarterback for Lewis and Clark for this series anyway, for the start of it, is JT Willis back on the field. Willis waits on the shotgun snap, turns and hands. Good open field tackle, dragging Anthony Hooker to the turf. Just a gain of a yard on that play. Good looking form tackle from La'alike. Lefty pass to the flat into the hands of Mateo Mahara. That's his 2nd catch of the day and 4th of the season. Just 2 catches coming in and 2 here in the 4th quarter this afternoon. Doesn't get much on that one. It's 3rd and 6. Call it 3rd and a long 5. For Lewis and Clark. They've got to get the ball across the 35 for a first down. Willis steps up, chase down from behind, flips a pass out for Mahara. My goodness. The only question is whether he was across the line of scrimmage or not. Well, the referees are moving the chain, so apparently Willis was not across the line of scrimmage when he flipped that ball out into the flat to Mahara. So back-to-back catches for Mahara. Keeps the drive alive for Lewis and Clark. Under 5.5 to play. Handoff, gang tackle at the line of scrimmage. No gain, perhaps a loss of a yard on that one. Michael Valtiera, last man off the pile. There was a bunch of dudes in on that one, but Valtiera likely to get the credit. It's frequently the last dude that emerges from the bottom. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10. Clock continues to run. .217 left in McMinnville. 3-point lead for Linfield. Here's Willis across the middle, has a man into Bearcats territory. Just fighting through hand tackles all the way down to close to the 25-yard line. Des Holton just dragging Willamette tacklers with him. My goodness, that's a gain of a bundle. All the way down to the 26-yard line. That's a gain of 36, maybe 37 yards. Here's JT Willis from the pistol formation. Hands it off to Anthony Hooker. Tackle between the hash and the numbers after a gain of about 3. They'll mark it down to the 22. So called a gain of 4, 2nd and 6 now for Lewis and Clark. Looks like Whitworth has the ball. It's 4th and 4. Now here's Willis, dumps it off underneath. Making some men miss. It's Lindell Betts working his way toward the goal line. Finally tackled just shy of pay dirt. Lindell Betts has had a nice little afternoon. And the ball, the nose of the football, just a couple of inches short of the goal line. So here comes the big boy package for Lewis and Clark. The beefy guys roll in up front. They'll split one wide out here to the near side. But it's the jumbo formation for Lewis and Clark on 1st and goal from the 2-inch line. And now a timeout on the field. Called by the Pioneers. We'll keep it right here for just a moment. It's now 1st and 10 for Whitworth at the Linfield 41-yard line. Just looking at the live stats to tell whether the clock is moved in that game. 33 first downs in this one for Lewis and Clark. 9 of 13 on 3rd down, 1 of 3 on 4th down. 647 yards of total offense for Lewis and Clark in this ball game so far. It is 1st and goal from the 1. But really and truly that ball resting just shy of the goal line. I formation, handoff straight up the middle, touchdown, Lewis and Clark. Chili Stevens, his 2nd touchdown of the season. And Lewis and Clark is going to earn itself a season-ending victory here today. Now check that. That is, in fact, Josh Dozier. Or Jack Bellamy, excuse me. Couple of 24s on this Lewis and Clark team. That was 24, not 34. So Jack Bellamy gets the touchdown. So Huxley Richardson now on to attempt the point after. That is a low line drive kick, and Huxley dropped after the kick. So that'll be assessed on the kickoff, I do believe. In any event, it's a 63-13 contest here in Salem.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, number 34 of the defense. That 15-yard penalty will be put and enforced on the ensuing kickoff.
So the roughing the kicker penalty will be enforced on the kickoff, which we'll have in just a moment. Still the score in McMinnville, 1 minute and 6 seconds left. I know I've been talking about that game a lot, but man, this is one for the ages shaping up in McMinnville, those two undefeated teams from our league. One, of course, will certainly represent our conference in the national playoffs. The other very likely headed there themselves after the short kickoff because the ball was moved all the way out to the 50-yard line. It sails through the end zone, and Willamette will begin their drive from their own 25-yard line. It's just really hard not to keep an eye on this game. Just an epic battle between two undefeated teams. The only two teams that came into today's action with winning records. They have gone final in Tacoma. Pacific Lutheran will end their season 5-5 after knocking off Puget Sound 42-7 today in the season finale. Ho'omanuanui, a little trouble with the snap, but hands it off to Gabe Herrera. Fights his way back toward the line of scrimmage. He is unable to get there. Actually, he will get back to the line of scrimmage. They'll set the ball down between the hash marks, right at the 25, so 2nd and 10. Clock continues to run. About 2 minutes left in our contest. Final 2 minutes of the season for Willamette. Ho'omanuanui takes the snap, hands it off, straight up the middle. Good looking run from Gabe Herrera. Barrels his way out across the 30. Oh, they'll mark him way short of where I thought he wound up. They'll mark him down to the 35. I thought he was pretty close to the sticks. Instead, they'll set him down after a gain of 8. So 3rd and 2 now coming up. Whitworth has taken the lead with 30 seconds to play in McMinnville. How about that? Unbelievable. That pass through the hands, nearly intercepted. Amari Abraham there could have had an interception as it bounded off the hands of Brandon Jackson. I believe that's who that was, the intended receiver. My goodness, what a turn of events. Whitworth now with a 28-24 lead on Linfield with 25 seconds to play. My goodness. So here's Ho'omanuanui on 4th down. Hands it off. Gabe Herrera fights his way up and over the 40-yard line. 1st down and then some. Gabe Herrera's had a spectacular afternoon, really piling up some numbers. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Bearcats from their own 41-yard line. Ho'omanuanui. Under a minute to play, takes the snap, hands it off. It's Herrera once again. Straight up the gut. Wrestled down at about the 45-yard line. This will likely be the final play of the afternoon. It's a play fake. Ho'o Manawanui winds up, lets it fly downfield. Incomplete, so we will have more football here in Salem. Looking for Caden Gonzalez down the seam, but overthrows his man. 14 seconds left. Things not looking good for Linfield. Only a few seconds left in that game. Ho'o Manawanui takes the snap. Good catch if it was made. Was that Avi Naidu on senior day with a catch? The defensive back stepping onto the field as a wideout makes the catch as the clock expires. And that is pretty cool. How about Avi Naidu, one of the 14 seniors on this team. He's a defensive back for this squad, playing his final game here this afternoon. Makes the catch, and that brings us to the end of the game. 63-13 our final score. We'll take a short break. We'll come right back and wrap things up here on the 2023 season. Well, you're looking at some pictures here, post-game. There's a jubilant sideline for Lewis and Clark. They finished the Northwest Conference docket with a winning record for the first time in quite a while. 4-3 finish, so hats off to this Lewis and Clark program. They equalized on the season, 2 wins against this very Willamette program. As part of their 5-5 campaign, they win today 63-13. Tough afternoon, to be sure, for this Bearcats team. But you know what? Let's talk once again about the seniors before we wind things down here from the press box. You know, having a chance to talk to interim head coach Tim Rude earlier this week, he talked a lot about the toughness, the adversity. A lot of guys who just committed to something from the jump. It was just a concept to a lot of these guys in terms of what they were taking on. They took a chance and just believed in what this program could do, that they believed that they could do something special here, and for all intents and purposes, they really did. They all bought in, even though they knew it was going to be a hard road, and it was. This year, of course, has been especially tough for this team. He talked about each of the seniors that are departing this program. He talked a lot about Matt Fiesta, KJ Smith, amazing as graduate students here. Seth Beach, he's been here longer than anyone. He's done every single thing that the program asked of him. He's been a great teammate. Matt Genovia, really unfortunate that he was not able to give it a go today. Michael Valtiera, they both definitely found a home here. Camden Dernberger, you know, he graduated in 3 years. Can you believe that? With a master's degree. Hang on. A master's degree he graduated with in 3 years. And interim head coach Tim Rude telling me that's exactly the kind of guy that this program wants to attract. A guy who can, in 3 years, earn not just a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. So it's just incredible, some of the things that this group of seniors has been able to accomplish. Avi, Flores, Jones, Goff, all of them. Really appreciate them for being really good program guys, chipping in, doing it whenever they were called upon. Great teammates, all of them. Dylan Hall becomes a tight end this season. He was here as a linebacker for the first 3-4 years of his career. Became a tight end just because the program needed him to do exactly that. You've got a guy like Gio Gallardo and Luke Seymour. Other guys that have all stepped in. Every single one of these guys has contributed invaluable, just critical things to the fabric of Willamette football. So once again, let's list this off for you. This senior class: Matt Fiesta, Camden Dernberger, Seth Beach, Justin Genovia, Avi Naidu, Michael Valtierra, Dylan Hall, Ron Florentino, Ryan Johns, and DJ Smith. That is the group of seniors who will not be back next year. There were 4 other seniors honored on the field here this afternoon: La Alike, Nick Goff, Gio Gallardo, and Luke Seymour. Those are the 4 guys who it's still up in the air for them. There's a lot to consider whether they want to come back and play a little bit more football. The eligibility is there for them should they opt to use it. A.J. Conrad and Dylan Carpenter are 2 dudes who have already announced that they will, in fact, go ahead and use that last year of eligibility next year. So we will see both of them, A.J. Conrad